I do think that some of the changes we've seen in China's approach to the region, this more assertive, aggressive approach, has definitely acted as a sort of boost to the U.S.-India relationship. And I would look particularly at the 2020 border crisis, which I think was really a defining moment for India, and recognizing that China was going to be a problem for India, was becoming more aggressive, putting more pressure on the border disputes issue. And so, whereas China may have been trying to signal to India not to go too far with the Quad or not to go too far with the U.S.-India relationship, I think that border crisis had the opposite impact. And I think we've seen India even more invested in the Quad partnership since then, and more committed to the U.S.-India relationship. And if you look at the Prime Minister Modi's recent visit to Washington, it was an extraordinary visit. There were commitments on the defense and technology cooperation fronts, which are really quite historical. You look at the decision to now have the U.S. and India co-produce jet engine technology. I mean, this is really a remarkable development. I can't overstate that. And, the fact that President Biden showed up at the G20, there was a very productive meeting between President Biden and Prime Minister Modi. I think, a 20-page joint statement issued after that meeting. And what that showed is the U.S. confidence in India as an emerging global leader and as a country that can bridge the gaps between the developed and developing world. So I think, by all accounts, the U.S.-India relationship is in a very good place, a great place, I would say. And I think it's partially because of both countries' mutual interest in wanting to make sure that China is not successful in sort of dominating the Indo-Pacific region, not to mention China's goal of wanting to dominate on the technological front and to control the information environment. That is not in the interest of the U.S. or India. And so I think they recognize that by working together, they can help deal with these challenges. And even though, it's not always going to be smooth sailing between the U.S. and India, there are going to be differences. And, Russia's invasion of Ukraine comes to mind. I think when we talk about China and the Indo-Pacific, there are very much converging interests, and I would even say alignment on how to deal with that challenge. And so that's certainly contributing to the U.S.-India.